overall headphones market is very much owned by big names like Sony and Bose, thanks to their wonderful comfort features and industry-leading active noise cancelling. But when it comes to the sound quality, both of these brands have their drawbacks. The biggest problem can be that there's nothing between the $400 Sonys and the $550 AirPods Max. The Bang & Olufsen H10, which are right here, they fit in perfectly with a $500 price tag and the hardware to match. Right off the bat, this product exudes quality. The headband is made of aluminum and the top of it is covered with this nice leather. And the part that really matters, the bottom, is made of this nice bamboo fiber, and I really love it. The entire thing feels very comfortable on your head and generally holds it in place very well. The back of the ear cups are also pretty nice. I love this nice little brushed aluminum look that they have going on it, and the leather on the ear cups are made of this super soft lambskin leather. Just like any other leather, you'll need to give it a little bit of time to break in. Also, these round ear cups are super awesome. They look great, though we'll have to talk about the fit later on. I think that in terms of just pure looks, these are quite wonderful. There is a lot of work put into this that you can really see throughout the headphones. Now, what I love about these headphones is that there's a clear focus on giving you a nice feeling throughout the hardware and the software. The ear cups are also removable, though you have to apply a counterclockwise turning pressure to have it come off. I was surprised at just how much force you have to put in to get one of them to come off. For something at this price range, I would have hoped for something like magnets in, let's say, the AirPods Max. It's really cool, feels more premium, and it's something I guess we can expect in this day and age. Nevertheless, it's good to know that these are replaceable, and it's great for longevity since they do sell it on their website, though it will cost you. The final thing I want to comment is that these headphones also come with a 3-year warranty, which is amazing. It shows that these guys mean business. They're confident in their product, and they want to make sure that you're a satisfied customer in the long run. And hey, check out this case. This thing is good. The whole thing is made of very strong materials. The inside is quite solid. The only comment I have is that the interior flap is a tiny bit hard to open, but frankly, it's not a big deal. I think it's a very protective and high quality case that will definitely keep your product safe. However, keep in mind that this thing is still kind of big. I mean, it's really big. I could see this being a problem for a lot of people who travel frequently, but for me, I can work around it. It's not that big of a deal. The H10 features some standard features that you pretty much get with any pair of consumer headphones these days. There are some basic touch controls on the side to help you control your music, which includes volume, pause, play, skip track, and go back, and that's pretty much it. Pretty much everything you really need, but we're going to talk about the controls again in a bit because there's some stuff we need to talk about. It's also got a wear sensor that will automatically pause your music when you take it on and off. It's really nice to have, but it can be rather annoying. As a UX designer, it really grinds my gears to see these little issues with it. Just the small details, like the fact that it doesn't respect if you pause the music manually before taking off the headphones. And as soon as you put it back on, it will always start playing again. This is a sharp contrast to things like the AirPods or even the Sony WH-1000 series. Also, these are a pair of active noise cancelling headphones, which is certainly something you can expect at this price point. To their credit, the main isolation comes from these wonderfully awesome passive sealing ear cups. Now for the bad news, the ANC kind of stinks according to a large number of people. If you expect anything even remotely close to the Sonys or Bose, you're very likely setting yourself up for failure. It's really only there to get rid of that final bits of humming or some of the midtones. I think it's perfectly fine, but for people who commute more frequently, this could become very annoying. However, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when I talk about my experience of using them in person. I just want to make sure you guys get the majority's opinion before I give mine, because not everyone has the same use case. The opposite end of this is transparency, which is where the mics on the headphones will let the sound in to let you hear everything that's going on around you. I think that they are fantastic, but there's a little too much sound at times. Thankfully, it's customizable, so you can just tone it down a little if you want. Personally, I don't hate it. I think that the extra sound helps you hear the people around you, But the biggest complaint I have with it is that there's this weird white noise that is continuously present when they're on. I tested this extensively by locking myself in a closet to make sure it's not just some other sounds being amplified. But nope, no difference. The white noise just stays there the entire time, which is very unfortunate. Besides those features, I'm happy to report that these have amazing battery life with a fantastic 35 hours with active noise canceling and 40 hours without. That's industry leading and frankly is something that more headphone manufacturers should focus on. Perhaps the greatest thing about these headphones is definitely going to be the software for me. Setting up the headphones is super easy. You literally just have to turn them on and you'll see them appear on the app as a nearby device. Now that's for iOS. If you have an Android phone, these have support for Google Fast Pair, so these should be very easy to connect up to them as well. The app itself is very simple. You get the battery status at the top with an estimate for how long you have left when you tap the battery icon. However, note that the battery estimate will be drastically incorrect for a very long time. I don't exactly know when it fixes itself, but it does fix itself eventually. Under the battery, you get a play and pause button, along with the volume and the ability to skip tracks and all that. I think it's neat, but chances are you're never really going to use the play and pause buttons. The volume, though, is very helpful. My favorite part of this app is the listening modes. Unlike a lot of headphones in this price range, Bang & Olufsen doesn't let you play with the EQ, but instead lets you change the sound tone in a more controlled way. This isn't going to make everyone happy, but for someone like me, it's quite awesome. You can also create a whole bunch of these presets that you can set using what's called Beoplay. This is a wheel with different listening signatures shown that you can choose from. While this can be a little annoying for people who are more advanced, I think that this is going to be very neat for people who aren't as tech savvy. After that, we have our noise controls. There's the feature called adaptive noise cancellation here, which is supposed to change your ANC type based on your surroundings. You might as well leave it off since it doesn't really do anything, it seems. I haven't really tested it extensively, but others have, and guess what? They still can't really figure out what it does. To their credit though, the app is still quite awesome getting that perfect balance of ANC thanks to the slider. More headphones should really have this. After that, we get a nice little wear detection toggle that will always say it's off no matter what. So that's pretty annoying, but don't worry about it. It's a glitch. If you set it to on, it's on. And that's pretty much all the notable features on the app itself. It's really simple, but it gets the job done, and I love the simplicity of it. Now, sound quality is rather difficult to quantify, since not everyone likes the same sound signatures. I'll preface this by saying that I'm no audiophile, so I can only tell you what my experience is without using fancy jargon that's often associated with this kind of topic. For me, I've always preferred Apple's more neutral sound signature. What made me love these headphones immediately was just how neutral the sound is. It doesn't necessarily prefer any end of the spectrum, and it's pretty easily customizable if you do want some more bass or some more treble. The bass is crisp, but unlike the Sonys, it's not overbearing. The midtones are also very crisp, which makes the music flow very well. And finally, you may have guessed it, the treble is awesome too. Essentially, it's tuned to be incredibly neutral, with just the right amount of curve to give it a little personality. Besides the wonderfully balanced sound, I loved how wide the soundstage is. This is something that I've neglected since I've never really had a quality pair of headphones before. It's amazing to hear sound coming from further away and not just from your ears. I'm sure some audiophile could explain this a lot better, but then again, I'm only just recounting my experience. I think that there's an intimacy to the music when it comes from away, when it sounds like people are actually sitting around you and playing music for you, and not just music coming out of your ears. It's an absolutely beautiful experience that you simply cannot get from a cheaper pair of headphones. For me, the moment I realized how amazing these headphones are is when I played the song Flesh and Bone by The Killers. It's not the greatest song necessarily, but what it does have is a wide array of instruments playing and great moments that benefit from a wider soundstage, along with some really good imaging, which is essentially instrument separation for how well you can tell where the sounds are coming from. With this song, I realized just how amazing it is that I'm able to tell where some of these instruments are being played. Naturally, people who know more about this would be able to give much better feedback. But it's certainly an amazing experience, and I think even the least tech-savvy person would appreciate it. One thing to note here, however, is that the soundstage does reduce substantially when going into active noise canceling mode. This is a little unfortunate, but I didn't find it awful, but it's certainly something you should keep in mind if you want to get the most out of these headphones. My biggest surprise came from just how amazing they sound with Dolby Atmos on Windows. It makes gaming on Windows extraordinarily immersive, though it's not quite as good as the B&O portals, which I'm going to talk about in a separate video. Hit that red subscribe button if you want to see that. I tried a few games with this, and it performed very, very well in pretty much every situation. I played Halo Infinite, and the first thing I noticed is that the quality of the virtual 3D effect is absolutely amazing. However, these aren't very good with footsteps, which is something you may want to keep in mind. Perhaps playing with the Dolby app may be a good idea to pump out some more treble, perhaps. Where this thing really shines is with more chill types of games, more relaxed stuff. By this I mean single-player games and games such as Forza. In both Forza Horizon 5 and Outer Worlds, I found the 3D effect to be amazingly immersive despite streaming both of these over xCloud. Dolby has done some serious magic to get the effect that they do, but the real credit goes to B&O for being able to provide such a crazy soundstage that the people at Dolby are simply exploiting here. Things begin to take a different tune when we talk about comfort. Now don't get me wrong, these are certainly a very comfortable pair of headphones, but it's going to be extremely subjective due to one simple fact. The ear cups are round. They look great. I would feel proud to wear them out in public. But they will rest on your earlobes, and that can get very uncomfortable. At least that's for most people. I didn't have that luck. Let me preface this by mentioning that I must have some serious elephant ears, because I've had discomfort with nearly every kind of headphones out there except maybe the AirPods Max, because they have literal caves for ear cups. With the Sonys, my ears were getting warm, and there was a serious discomfort associated with them. Now my brother has the XM4s, and somehow it's even more uncomfortable. The problem with my ears isn't the heat, that's just discomfort. With these headphones, it's the pain. Now, after wearing a lot of different pairs of headphones, I seem to get this horrible pain out of them, and I really wasn't surprised that my right ear was on fire after wearing the H10s for longer than about an hour. That being said, my left ear is ironically the most comfortable it'll probably ever be in a pair of headphones. Now, outside of my own elephant ear problems, or whatever it is, the headphones are great. The leather is very soft, and they're surprisingly breathable. The headband is also really nice as well. It's certainly got this very premium feel to it that I really appreciate. My only complaint here would be that the ears touch inside, and again, it doesn't seem to be that big of an issue. I didn't find this uncomfortable at all. And in fact, I enjoy the feeling on my ears. I just think that this could be a problem for a lot of people that are sensitive to that. I think these are very nice headphones that most people aren't going to have too much of a problem with, despite my own horrible experience. My favorite part about these headphones is that you can walk around with them without hearing that constant thud from your footsteps. This was a serious problem for me with my Sonys, but I think it's a lot better on the XM4s. These are really great at it though, and taking walks really won't be a problem at all. I guess what really hurt the most is the realization that I won't be able to keep these despite the amazing sound quality. Good music quality can be an emotional experience, and I mean it. These headphones were good enough that they affected me emotionally, in a good way. But I can't keep them if I can't wear them even for short periods of time. Though there is a silver lining, I found that wearing the headphones higher on my head seemed to help a lot with the pain. Perhaps I might just need to get used to the headphones. We'll see. This is something that's really hard to talk about because everyone's going to have a different experience. No one else that I showed the headphones to had the problems that I spoke about. Now, in terms of working out, I think that you may want to avoid these headphones, though they're not bad at all. I took them out for a 30-minute walk outside on a windy day, and they were pretty great. They're very stable on my head, and that's thanks to the amazing headband and the lightweight nature of these headphones. The ear cups are also quite breathable, as I said before, which means that it won't really capture too much heat. However, these are made of leather, which means that they don't necessarily do very well with moisture. So for one thing, don't take them out in the rain, and secondly, you really don't want to get sweat on them. For anything more than a walk, you'll want to stick to in-ear or headphones made for working out. One thing I did really appreciate is the noise canceling. Now, I know people like to roast on Bang & Olufsen's ANC, but this thing managed to tune out the whole city. And I mean the entire city was quiet. There were large trucks going by the street that I couldn't even hear. It's seriously impressive. However, I did leave it on transparency for the majority of my walk because I don't want to get hit by a car. What I did notice is that the reduced wind noise feature certainly works, but all it really does is it just shuts off the mics as soon as it detects any wind. That's fine, but I really didn't appreciate that when I was crossing the street. I actually just ended up leaving that feature off for the remainder of my walk so that, I don't die. I would have really preferred that they try to doctor the sound somehow instead of just turning off all the sound. What did surprise me though was that I did feel very comfortable with them on the entire time. There was no discomfort with the walking itself, and I pretty much forgot about my ear issues after a little bit wearing them. There was also no thumping with every footsteps, which, as I said before, is a huge problem for a lot of headphones. So yeah, these things are very solid for walking, but for anything else, I would definitely try to avoid them. If I can get used to the fit of these headphones, these would actually be really great headphones. They sound great, they're comfortable, and they're amazing battery life. It's got it where it counts for the most part, but we gotta talk about these controls because I have never seen a bigger screw up. For a pair of wireless noise canceling headphones, easy controls is a must. You're going to be relaxing with them, walking with them, working with them, you name it. These? Yeah, good luck. Let me start off on a good note. The pause and play is pretty great. You literally just tap in the middle of the right ear cup and you're good to go. You can also just take off the headphones. So there's that too. But that's all the good we're going to have because it's all just downhill from here. The problems are really that these are absolutely horrible at registering longer inputs such as swipes. Skipping a track is honestly so inconsistent that I usually just end up pulling out my phone. But I'll be nice, it works about 50% of the time. So it's not horrible per se. Now, the word horrible is reserved to going back to a previous track. It worked maybe a solid 10%, and even then, that's me just being nice. It's so incredibly bad that I am seriously questioning their design team and how nobody stopped them from releasing this absolute garbage. Unfortunately, the problems don't stop there. You see, they did something really cool with the volume controls. The ear cup has some lines that go in a circle. If you slide your finger along that, you'll change your volume. And you know what? It sounds awesome in theory. In fact, they got this almost perfectly right. The metal grooves help your finger get that rotation perfectly. This would be one of my favorite ways of changing the volume had they not screwed it up with the most inconsistent dial. Now, when I got my headphones, they wouldn't work at all. Now, imagine my surprise after buying $500 headphones and I can't even change the volume. Thankfully, it became a lot better the next day. Don't ask me why, because I have no idea. Now, it works every time, but you have to provide some pressure on the ear cup, which can be rather uncomfortable. And you know what? I don't even mind as much. However, what I cannot get over is how the sound actually changes. You pretty much have to do a full circle around the cup to get it go up or down a notch. Sometimes. Other times, it only takes half a turn. Seriously? I don't think either of these issues are a deal breaker, especially since they do end up working after a lot of practice. I guess the problem really stems from the fact that I had expectations at this price range, especially when coming from a cheaper pair of headphones. What's more is that the gaming version of these headphones actually feature very, very easy to use controls that make them seem like a joke now here. Okay, so let's at least end off on a good note by recapping why I think these are still 100% worth that price tag, because it's certainly not cheap. I think that the extra money that you spend on these will get you that amazing bump in music quality that you are probably expecting at this price tag. The hard case they provide is probably one of the biggest parts that I'm going to miss if I do end up returning them. They're just wonderful overall. The app is also a great buying factor, for me especially. It's simple, it's easy to use, and it gets the job done. However, the noise cancelling can be a little disappointing for some. Don't expect it to be Sony levels of ANC, and that fit will be questionable for a lot of people thanks to the round ear cups design. I strongly advise everyone to still try them out at least. They're just a very beautiful experience for a rather reasonable price, surprisingly. Thanks a lot for watching. This was a longer video, but I think that it's important to provide the full picture when talking about a product such as this. I'm going to be talking about some more Bang & Olufsen products soon as well to provide some comparisons, so definitely get subscribed if you want more. But until then, I'm out of here. I gotta go click on some other videos. Thanks so much for watching.